What's up YouTube, Gamesbro here. For this video, we are going to be doing something that I've done on Tumblr for a while now, and I thought we would implement them here. This is what we call a mid-series review. Now what does that mean? This means we take a series which we are halfway through, and we talk about where we are, how we got there, and our feelings for the series up to this point. Now when I do the series reviews, I may repeat some of this information, but it's more for the benefit of those who don't watch this video. Okay? I'm going to let you know that now. The first thing about this we're going to talk about is it came out in 2006. The animation does not look 2006. This actually looks closer to this day and age, or around about 2011 when the this DVD box set was actually released by Sentai Filmworks, responsible also for Yuta no Prince-sama and Inuyasha, two series of which we will be covering later on. The story actually starts with finding out about how the academy, called Seiso, actually came to be. Turns out that the guy who founded the place rescued a fairy, and the fairy is a being that loves music and basically wanted music to stay alive, and so this guy said he would create an academy based pretty much around it. And there's two different divisions of this academy. One is the general studies, which actually explains this uniform. The other is called the music department. The music department, boys and girls, are a bit more elitist, we'll say. And apparently a bit more catty than the folks in Utah, which I'll get to in a minute. Now, here's the thing about this series we're going to get out of the way now. If you've seen Utah and then you watch this series, they're night and day. I'm already going to tell you that. I can tell you that just from the first half of the show. They're night and day because whereas the 5 or 6, depending on the season you're watching, individuals are trying to become one, so they're trying to become harmonious with each other. Because of the way this academy is set up, what you end up with is a bunch of people looking out for themselves, and it also leaves you in a situation where sometimes you think you know the personality of the character, so you think you know what to expect from them, and they flip a switch on you. I'll give you a few examples. Okay, Yunori. He is the princely type character. He's got long purple hair. He acts like a gentleman, a complete scholar, an honor student. Basically, he's fucking perfect. But apparently, he has a dark side. Doesn't help, he's a Gemini. Because if he doesn't like you, he will find a way to tell you to your face. And he can make things very difficult for you. Especially considering his guard. There are 3 women that are usually designated every day. It's like a rotation with these people, who basically look out for him and protect him from the crazy fangirls that happen to be in this academy. Yeah, and these women aren't. Just saying. Then you have this one character. His named Sukamori. He's a violinist. By the way, in case you're interested, you can learn he plays the flute. He actually is an accomplished pianist, but because he's not allowed to he's forbidden to exceed anybody in his family. He has to play he had to pick another instrument. The flute became his. Then you have Sugimori. He's a violinist. There's like 3 or 4 of these people in the academy. It's ridiculous. They tried to get this thing over apparently real good. Anyway, you think he's an aloof jackass, but you're finding out that his personality is closer to that of a tsundere. In other words, he has this very aloof and cold personality, but for certain people he'll show the softer side. Well, where we are, he's starting to show it for this young lady whose name is Kahoko, which we'll get to in about 30 seconds. But those are 2 examples of traits in this series. You may notice I left out some people, and there's actually a very good reason for that, and I'll explain as we move on. The lead character, again, if you've seen Udapri and then you go to this series, your head wants to blow up, because whereas Haruka Nanami in that series is very passionate about music, this character couldn't be fucked with it, legitimately. For the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes, you may even say 6, she really doesn't want to be part of a competition. See, the whole story is revolving around a competition where these characters are competing, and they were selected specifically by the principal. Well, Kahoko happens to be one of them, but she's in general studies and she doesn't actually play an instrument. She's not like another character named Suchara, I believe that's what it is, or Suchabara, one of the 2. Anyway, who's in general studies, but he can play the piano. She doesn't play an instrument. She was given her instrument by the fairy that lives in the academy that only she can see. And the fairy's name is Lilli. Now, I mentioned that in this academy, people can be kind of catty, right? Well, you find out for the first selection, and there's going to be I think 4 of them. We're through the first 2. You find out that if a student doesn't like you, or a group of students don't like you, they will find a way to try and sabotage you. Perfect example. In the first episode, or not in the first episode, but around the time of the first selection, Kahoko's accompanist was supposed to help her with the selection she picked for the theme, which was the beginning. Well, she bailed. She was nowhere to be found, and she got caught talking to somebody on the phone, saying how she wasn't going to do the job for the person. She just said she was going to, but she wasn't going to help out Kahoko, which is a problem, because she needed someone in order to be able to fill the requirement, or to be able to do the arrangement. Luckily for her, Suchura happened to be there, who knows how to play the piano. He's in general studies, but he was able to bail her out, even though technically she got disqualified. By the way, when she plays the piano, or not the piano, the violin, she sometimes plays barefoot, which actually I can say from seeing someone play the violin live, they do that. Quick aside, I actually went to a Celtic Woman concert in Philadelphia years ago with my dad. It was actually a lot of fun. And the violinist, who I forget her name now all of a sudden, I want to say it was Maeve, M-E-A-V. She was playing and she was going across the stage and she was barefoot. My dad literally says to me, Jordan says to me, she has no shoes on. I'm like, I noticed. But anyway, she did that. Kahoko did that in this series so far a couple of times, and it was I noted it and I kind of chuckled when I saw it. The thing about like Sukanori, he is also a violinist. Like I said, I think there's like, let me think, 3 or 4 people that play the violin in this fucking school. Okay, he's one of them. He starts where you think he's just a genuine prick, but we've started to see that part of his persona start to crumble, and we started to see the caring side of the person. And even Kahoko was interested in helping him when he got padlocked in the wardrobe of his dressing room when he was practicing for his part of the performance, the second performance. And even though he didn't make it out in time and he got disqualified, she didn't care. She wanted to help him. So this tells me, so far, because I've been already messed up by at least one character, this tells me that these two kind of going to have a thing going during the rest of the series. That's what it kind of tells me. Now, I wish I could name for you all of the characters. The problem is that are involved in this series. The problem is, here's what happened. Within like the first episode, they named you like 5 characters. So you're thinking 5 or 6 characters. So you're thinking, okay, I only have to focus on these. Well, actually, it's more like 5 or something, I think. Then you find out, no, there's more. There's a girl from the journalism club whose name I legitimately cannot remember for the life of me. There's her friends Mio and Nero, which, by the way, that name sounds familiar. That's also the name of a member of the band Alice 9. In case anybody's interested. I know those two, although I had to struggle for a minute. You know, there's, Yunori, who's the princely type, who also is a bit of a prick, apparently, now. There's so many people. Trying to remember everybody's name is virtually impossible. And that's a problem, because when you're trying to review these things, and when this is only part 1 for us, it's a bit rough. Now, the music selection. I can listen to it all day. I know there's a complete collection of all the music, and it's expensive. I think if Amazon sells it, it's like $100, but you can get it from like third parties or like 70. I'm not kidding. It's ridiculous. Am I going to get it eventually? Yeah. Because the music is just that good. I could probably fall asleep listening to it. Animation actually doesn't even look like it's from 2006. Like I said, it looks closer to more current, or closer to current, like 2011-ish. Down in Heaven had more 2006-ish feel. Although you can watch you can tell you're watching an anime from earlier on in the genre. Look at the subtitle letters. They're yellow. I will tell you this now, so I don't do it in the actual series review. This comes with subtitles. You cannot turn them off. There is no setting to do that. Okay? So what you end up with is you have to watch you're reading the subtitles, which is good, because if you didn't, you wouldn't know any of the characters unless you've already seen it in Japan when the show originally aired. Now, this is only the first half, but based on the first half, what do we think? I'm digging the story so far because there was actually some twists and turns that kept me guessing. Animation, I'm digging. I have no issue with that. The story pacing. It drove me nuts in like the first couple episodes because I legitimately couldn't remember everybody's name, and I still can't. Then on top of that, they just introduced a character towards the end of the last disc 2, so now you had to try and remember his name on top of everybody else's name. I come to find out, because I counted them when you watch the end of the opening sequence, there's like 10 characters we're going to have to try and remember, by not counting the journalism woman, okay? Not counting her. We've got like 10 other characters 10 characters we have to try and know the names of. Let's put that in perspective. Okay? If you take season 1 of Utapri, effectively, there's 5 characters you really need to know. Well, okay, there's 7 if you count the school teacher and the principal. Okay? But I can name you those characters easy. I can virtually do that off the top of my head. I can't name you half of the characters in this series right now. And that's a problem. Maybe what I'll do before I start tomorrow is literally write down on a notepad all the names so I'll know who's who. Because otherwise I'm like, okay, who's that again? That's not everything else makes up for that. So that's not an issue. That's not a deal breaker. But it's just so funny to me that here's this show where they're going to give you a lot of characters. You know this. Okay? But did it have to be... It's been interesting with the twists and turns and the unpredictable nature of the series, and I'm hoping it continues because the music's been really good. The characters, and the ones I can remember, have actually been really good, and even the character development has kept me guessing. So that's also a big plus with it, because when you can tell who the hero and who the villain, or who are the good people and who are the evil sons of bitches, it kind of takes the fun out of it, doesn't it? And so far with this series, I've been kept guessing, and I want to see Kahoko, rise above everything, and by the time we get to episode 26, I want to see her standing tall at the top of the last selection standings, winning the whole bloody thing against all odds and against everyone else. I want to see it happen. I really do. So, with that being said, where do we come out on this? Based off the first half, I would definitely recommend you watching this. Now, I said off the first half. That can change after we finish the second half on Thursday. Okay? So, right now I'm saying, yes, you should definitely get this, because it is available on Amazon. I believe you can get it for like $40. So that's the way we come out on the mid-series, and I shall talk to you all later, or maybe in a little bit. Later, gang.